Columbus land. You see this? Let's pull this up a little. That's my neighbor's stoop back in the backyard. But that's back here. You can see there. We just got rid of all this mess. Okay, let's go back. I'm gonna get it. We just got rid of this. Okay, we just got rid of this. Back, we've had a kind of an ice storm. We're supposed to get 3. They say 3 to 6. I don't know. 3 to 6 inches of snow. I ain't not looking forward to that. I'm supposed to go to some gathering today, but I ain't go. Too much weather. Too much weather, people. Okay. Wow. Coming out of the darkness. Turn on the light out here. What's everybody's Friday looking like? 3 to 6 inches. That's what we're supposed to get, folks. 3 to 6 inches of snow. Frigid the rest of the week. Not supposed to get rid of this again probably till next weekend. Maybe. Who knows? This is some crazy ass weather. But you know, that's not what I want to talk about. One of the biggest marketing schemes is you want to make it in 2018 to make a I'm talking about making a full-time income from home. One of the biggest strategies that most marketers are doing, full-time marketing income. We're going to take a look at that. And we're going to look at that as, what is it? Well, I got an email this today. It's webinar marketing. What is webinar marketing? Well, let's go look at what webinar marketing is. Let's take what is that? Let's go back on here. Check this out. If I can find it. Webinar marketing. Okay, webinar marketing. Hold on, I'll be right back here. Back. Let's go here. 3 reasons you should be using and starting webinar marketing as soon as possible if you want to make a full-time income in 2018. Okay, let's look at this for what it is. Okay, one of the reasons why they say webinar marketing. Webinar marketing is a scheduled event and it gets more attention and trigger comments. Psychologically, a scheduled event gets more attention than a non-scheduled event. You can see the difference right in your own life. For instance, consider the difference in a party that you get invited to and RSVP that for that party for a simple verbal commitment. You make a hangout with friends or one night, which you are more likely to attend. Most every time the scheduled party with the invite and commit to get you there, come hell or high water. The non-committal plan, on the other hand, will get you there as long as there's better that comes along. Okay, let's go ahead here. says over 60% of marketers are using webinars as part of their content marketing. Webinars give an intimate, immediate authority, trust. You hear everybody talking about building that authority and trust. Well, obviously, I guess, you know, with webinars, they give that immediate authority and trust. It's video and you're teaching. Okay. Webinars cause your income to spike. All right. Companion video. Watch below as six-figure webinar marketing expert Steve Jaffe demonstrates why a full-time income earners do webinars. I've been following Steve Jaffe for a while, so let's take a look and see what he has to say.
Hey, it's Steve Jaffe. I have closed hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales collectively on webinars. You absolutely must do webinars to earn a full-time income in this industry. And you'll understand why on this short video. Look around, every top producer in the industry is doing webinars, myself included. Everybody who earns a full-time income is doing webinars. Now, I have sold MLSP, I have sold programs, I've sold training courses, including the MLSP product line. Webinars are incredibly effective to sell any offer, whether it's your MLM, network marketing deal, top tier opportunity, MLSP affiliate offers, MLSP membership, whatever you want to sell, you can do it with webinars. And here is why webinars are so effective. Number one, your sales conversion rate on webinars are going to be way higher than they will be with any other type of strategy, including sales videos and sales letters. Think about it. With a sales video, you email that out to people, but they are not looking for a sales video in their email, so it's an interruption for them. They're on their email to check their email. If you hit them with a promotion on Facebook and take them to a sales video, that's interruption marketing. They're not on Facebook looking for a sales video. In contrast, when they register for a webinar and get on that webinar, it's a scheduled event, and think about people's calendar they regard with heightened attention. Think about the last movie you attended. You were there focused. When the movie started, your phone was off. You were right there focused. Last wedding you attended, you were there focused. You were on time. Scheduled events matter in people's minds. That's what will get your webinar, that heightened attention. The second thing that'll happen is they will regard you as an authority on the webinar because you're doing the webinar. And people are very biased psychologically to comply with the requests of authority figures. A lot of research to demonstrate this. So when you ask for the sale at the end of your webinar, they're very biased to comply with you because you're the authority. Finally, you can give a complete presentation on a webinar end to end, 60 to 90 minutes. It's very hard to sustain that length of attention on just a random video, but on a webinar, you can get 70 to 90% of the people to stick around through the end of your presentation, 60 to 90 minutes. So you can go through the whole offer, handle objections. Very, very effective. This is why webinars will create sales more effectively than any other medium. Now, on the internet, people only buy from those they feel like they know, like, and trust. And nothing's going to establish trust better than a webinar, and here's why. The way you establish trust as an attraction marketer in this industry is you send out instructional content like this. And you do it in the form of videos or blog posts or social media posts, and all these things can be effective. And it helps you provide value so people see you as someone who's there to help them. But nothing's better than a webinar to do this, because on a webinar, you're gonna have 20 to 30 minutes of a training section. And that's a lot of for a ton of value. So the trust factor is gonna go through the roof on a webinar. Finally, the combination of all these things is gonna create income spikes for you. This is what it's all about with webinars. You get on a webinar, you can close 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 people into any opportunity or into MLSP or sell a course. It's very typical for people that get trained on webinar marketing by me, if they implement, to be closing sales in their very first webinar and make like $1,000 or $2,000 on their very first webinar. That's typical if they implement. There is a formula for this. I teach a formula that I've meticulously split tested. I'm the only person in the MLSP community that's created an MLSP course on webinar marketing. I'm very proud of that. And I've helped a lot of members of the community, including a lot of MLSP leaders, improve their webinar marketing skill sets. So bottom line, you got to be doing webinars for all these reasons. I mean, you could be selling an offer and making a few $1,000s every time you do a webinar. That's what it's about. You do that every week, you can make a lot of money doing this. That's what I did. I was able to build a full-time income when I started doing webinars pretty quickly. You got to be doing them. Get trained on webinar marketing. Do whatever it takes. Make an investment to get trained. This is the kind of thing that's worth investing in because you'll recoup that investment very quickly when you start to do webinars and profit from them. So get in the game of doing webinars. You'll get trained, and that will annihilate any fear that you have. Any fear that you have of doing webinars will go away after just getting some training. So dive in and step up, make an investment in yourself to learn this skill set, and it will pay huge dividends for you.
Training. We always talk about training in anything that we do. Training in any skill set that we do. You must have training. Steve Jaffe's been doing this a long time. When he hasn't mentioned one time he made 30 grand doing a webinar in one night. That's what most people would make in a year's salary, 30 grand. So that shows you how powerful webinars can be for your bottom line. Let's go back here. Can be for your bottom line. Let me bring this up. Let's go back and see what more information that he had, that this thing has to share for you. Here. Let's go here. The chapter 2, 3 ways you can get past your fear of hosting and marketing webinars. And I know a lot of you might have fears of getting on the camera, but think about it this, people. Think about it this way. Most people, you have fear facing people face to face, okay? A lot of you. That's why you chose to look at this, this presentation on how to present your product, service, plan, or whatever it is to your clients or prospects or whatever, without always having to be face to face. You chose the internet, okay? But you got to understand network marketing. And any business is a relationship business, and you got to face some way or somehow they have to see you. So the best way is to do this through a webinar video so they can hear and see you, okay? This is the best way to build that relationship. Remember, he said building that trust helps sales. So you got to build that trust, okay? This is the course he was talking about, webinars, sales mastery. Got to invest in your training. Got to invest in your training. This presentation, I will leave a link for you to purchase this training. Now, you can get it all at once. You can break it up in 2 payments, okay? You just have to click on this thing to know more. I'll leave a link for that. You'll get bonuses with this also. So how to get past your webinar fears. Steve Jaffe in this little short video will demonstrate or give you some info on how to get past some of those phobias.
Hey, it's Steve Jaffe. Pay attention. In this short video, you're going to learn how to overcome any phobia or fears you might have of doing webinars so you can get in the game and start doing webinars quickly and making significant income with webinars quickly. And one of the things that I hear over and over again is how people go from a place of fear to a lot of confidence doing webinars. And I want to teach you exactly how that occurs. The number one thing that happens for people is once they get into the training on webinar marketing, after they get through some of the training, whether it's coaching with me or in one of my courses, what happens is the training gives them a huge amount of confidence. And what people say over and over again is, you know, I'm halfway through your course and I am so much more confident to do webinars than I ever thought I would be. So what I have found in 80 to 90% of the cases, the training alone, just getting yourself educated the right way is going to evaporate that fear in just about every case. Guys, doing webinars is a cookbook recipe type of thing. I've broken it all out into like a cookbook recipe type of formula in my trainings. I've been doing this for years and split testing everything under the sun to figure out how to maximize registration rates, attendance rate, conversion rates. Do you do a replay? Do you not do a replay? What time of day do you do the webinar? How far in advance do you promote it? Everything. And I lay it all out when I train people. And it's the training where they're like, holy smoke, Steve, your training style is so comprehensive. I just know exactly what to do. Okay? It's like if people are a little afraid because they're not comfortable cooking, and then they get a cookbook and they find a recipe that's pretty simple. They're like, I can do that. And they measure it and they just do it. Okay? So the training, I promise you, this is what I've heard from so many of my students and customers, the training alone is going to get you over any fears you have in like 90% of the cases. Now, that remaining 10% of fear, if it's there at all, can be overcome in the following ways. If you do a practice run, sometimes people are like, they just want to make sure that they're comfortable with the webinar platform and all that. Do a practice run with no audience of your webinar. Literally fire up the webinar platform that you're using and go through your entire webinar, do it to an audience of no one or maybe just a friend, get a little feedback. That will make you a lot more confident. Practice can really, really help giving you that confidence. And finally, what I've really seen to be valuable is community. When people are like, guys, I'm doing my first webinar, wish me luck, and they post to like a Facebook group, you're going to get feedback from so many people that are rooting for you. That's going to help push you over the line. And then when you do the webinar, you're like, oh my God, it was so much fun, and I sold this and that. You're going to want to do it again. That community is going to come in and they're going to cheer for you. So get in the game of doing webinars. Everybody who earns who earns a full-time income in this industry is doing webinars. Get your hands on some training. Get in the game. Make an investment to get trained. It will return dividends many, many times over. It's one of the #1 skills to earn a full-time income in this industry. Do not worry about fear. Honestly, the training, practice run, community, you will be good. I can promise you that. So get in the game and learn webinar marketing and start doing your own webinars.
With that information, I hope you got value on how to get rid of some of the fears on using online webinars or video to maximize your potential to make a full-time income for 2018. You gotta do video, people, webinar, video, whatever. It's the only way you're gonna be able to build that trust in your audience. This is about building an audience. If you're coming online, you're learning to build an audience, and webinars are one of the biggest leveraging factors because it's video, they can see you, and you're doing teaching. As Stevie Jaffe says, giving content, information, instructional information, sharing that stuff, however you're doing it, is one of the biggest ways to build that trust. And like I said, I've been following Steve Jaffe for a few years, and learned a lot of what this webinar marketing can do for your business. Let's look at some more information that he has to share on here. Okay, chapter 3 of this. A proven webinar marketing promotion strategy to pull in tons of registrants. One of the biggest things you're going to have to learn also is how to get people to your webinars. Okay, that's one of the biggest strategies you're going to have to learn. How to get people to you, tons of people to your webinars to make it worth your amount. Wow. Okay, create a title, a unique title with a selling proposition. Like I've been saying all the time, you have to have something that stands out from the crowd. You can't sound like everybody else. You can't look like everybody else. Most people in network marketing don't do webinars unless they're a certain level. And if you've been in this less 3 to 6 months, you're ready to do webinars. You have something to share. Okay, you have something to share. Let's go here. Free training. This is what a sales funnel page, registrant page would look like. Free training, simple 3-step formula to create Facebook engagement, add leads, sales, fast to build your business. Okay, this is something that you would have access to in our group platform called MLSP, My Lead Sister Pro. We have a thing called a funnelizer that will allow you to put something like this together. Okay. The video right here, how to get people right here. This is what Steve Jaffe is going to explain to you, how to get people to register for your webinar.
Hey, it's Steve Jaffe. Pay attention. In this video, you're going to learn how to get a ton of people to register for your webinars, even if you have a tiny list. We'll get into that in a moment. A little bit about me so you know who you're listening to right into the training. I'm an L4 affiliate in MLSP. I have been a featured speaker at Live the Dream 3 times on the topic of webinar marketing. I've probably trained more people in this community in webinar marketing than any other trainer here. And the only person in the MLSP community to have an MLSP course on the topic of webinar marketing. Trained a lot of leaders in the community here as well on webinar marketing. Now, when I got started, I did not have a big list. I had to maximize registrations in order to get results with my webinars. So I figured out a lot of things. The biggest thing that I want you to understand is your webinar is competing in an environment with a lot of clutter out there. Your webinar has got to stand out. The way to get your webinar to stand out is with a unique selling proposition. Now, if you're scratching your head saying, wait a minute, I don't even have a list. How do I get people to register? Here's what you're going to do is promote your webinars on social media, for example. And because your webinar registration page can double as a lead capture page, every one of those webinar registrants can go straight on your list. Go straight to your AWeber, will get added to your autoresponder. So don't worry if you don't even have a list. You can promote webinars using these strategies to build a list. But you've got to have a unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition. People think they know what that means because they know what these words mean. They don't really understand how this applies and how to use this in their marketing. What you have to do is insert a promise, okay, a proposition, some benefit in the title of your webinar that's a result that people want in your target audience. You can't just do a webinar like Facebook advertising secrets. It's too vague and boring. And there's no implicit promise or proposition in that. You have to retitle that to something that's going to stand out a lot more. So you have to make a proposition like how to generate 15 to 20 leads per day on Facebook for $4 or less per lead. That's specific, that's a proposition. Now, the proposition's got to be unique. It has to be some benefit that they'll gain from your webinar that they can't gain from just Googling or looking at some YouTube video. It's got to be unique. And it's got to be something sexy that they actually want. It's got to sell. It's got to sell. Now, where people get this wrong is there's either no benefit at all in their webinar title, or it's not unique, or it's not sexy enough. So it could be, Facebook marketing for people that hate social media. How to generate 10 to 15 leads per day on Facebook for $4 or less per lead, even if you hate being on Facebook, right? That's unique. It'll probably pull, and there's a direct proposition there. That's my point. That'll stand out over Facebook advertising secrets. Yay! Snore, right? That's Snorefest right there, okay? The second thing is you need a registration page that's going to get a monster closing rate because you're sending traffic to that registration page, right? Your USP is going to get it to stand out. They're going to click, go to your registration page. You got to be getting 60% conversion rate or higher. Now, you can get this with some of these funnelizer pages that will link right to your webinars. That's important. You got to track this. Don't settle for 30 or 40%. I see people out there that are using like a stock webinar registration page that comes with a webinar platform. They're not split testing. They're leaving a lot of the results on the table because they're only getting like 30 or 40% conversion. You got to be getting 60% plus through my testing. This is about the crossover point where if you're not there, you're leaving a lot of registrants on the table. Finally, be very aggressive in promoting your webinar. Most people, they're not aggressive enough. You have to send a lot more emails to your list than you realize. I send 3 emails per day leading up to the event. So I will start promoting my webinars 2 to 3 days in advance, 3 emails per day. And then the day of the event, they get 5 emails. They get one first thing in the morning, one around midday. And if it's a 9 p.m. webinar, they get one at 7 p.m., starts in 2 hours. 8 p.m. starts in an hour, and then 9 p.m. starts now. You've got to be much more aggressive than you realize. And here's the thing, your audience will tolerate that the nearer you are to that webinar starting. The day of, you can jump up and down like a crazy person about your webinar, and it's totally okay because the webinar is that day. So have a unique selling proposition. You structure a webinar around, high converting registration page, be very aggressive. You'll get a ton of people to register for your webinar. Learn this skill set. Create a full-time income from home using the skill set that more people who are earning a full-time income from home are using than probably any other skill out there, webinar marketing. Learn this skill set, invest to learn this skill set. You will recoup your investment very quickly. Get in the game with webinars. Look forward to seeing you do your webinars.
Powerful information. You got to be a little bit aggressive if you want to learn and make a full-time income from home. That's one of the things people are looking for when they got online. That's what their problems are, home-based business, full-time income. This is the skill set, people. You got to learn this skill set if you want to make a full-time income marketing, okay? If you are in network marketing, one of the things you got to understand in today's market is about leverage. The days of chasing people, trying to set up meetings that people don't show up to are over. You have to learn to market yourself into the marketplace. Social media and the internet has been one of the greatest savings, especially for me, because I think if it wasn't for social media and internet, I would have been out of this business. I get tired of chasing down people, setting up meetings, chasing people here, there, and everywhere, and have no-shows. You ever had no-shows? You guys in network marketing know what I'm talking about. If you're in Amway, Usana, Metaluca, whatever, any of them things, you know what no-shows are. You set up an appointment with somebody and then they refuse to call you, tell you to show up, or they're not showing up. They don't even have the audacity to do that. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about, okay? So let's go back on here and see what else I have to share with you. In this video, Steve Jeffrey talks about how to get up to 60% plus attendance to your webinars.
Hey, it's Steve Jaffe. Pay attention on this short video. You're going to learn how to get huge attendance rates on all of your webinars going forward. I have done hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales on webinars, and I have a very high average attendance rate on my webinars. A lot of my webinars get between 60 and 65% attendance when normal attendance is like 30-35% for a lot of people. I'm going to teach you some of the tactics that I've developed to get this monster attendance rate and how my customers and students get a monster attendance rate. I have thousands of people on the topic of webinar marketing. I've spoken at Live the Dream as a featured speaker 3 times on the topic of webinar marketing. I'm an L4 affiliate here at MOSP, and actually the only MOSP member to have an MOSP course on the topic of webinar marketing. Let's get right into this. This is one of my specialties, is maximizing attendance. The first thing to understand is if you have a short promotion cycle for your webinar, if you start to promote your webinar just a few days in advance, that's going to impact your attendance rates very favorably. If you promote a webinar too far in advance, it's going to lose its importance in the mind of your prospect over time. If somebody registers for a webinar a week in advance, there's a lot of stuff that can come in to their life to interfere in that period. If they register for a webinar 1 hour in advance, it's a 9 o'clock webinar and it's 8 p.m. and they just registered, they're very likely to attend.